What is up, my loves? It's your girl Diamond, and I'm back with my own new review of the Real Housewives of Atlanta. So let's get it going. We start the scene off with Kelly. She's having dinner with her girls. Her oldest daughter, Chloe, is concerned about her grades and how her father expects her to do well. And we get to the relationship that Kelly has with Chloe's father. It's very good. They're like best friends. But with her current ex, and how their relationship is going to be, it's not going to go well because we have death threats, we have restraining orders, so it's a saddened situation. And she did get awarded the marital home, but she wants to sell it so that way her daughters can have a bigger house because the townhome that they're living in is a temporary fix. So kudos to her, congratulations to her, and we're moving on. Okay, so we get the scene between Shamea and Ralph. They're meeting up together to talk about doing a podcast. I don't care. Of course, Shamea already has an explanation as to why it's okay for her to meet up with Drew's estranged husband because it's about business. And she's also going to be fishing for information to find out if Drew and Dennis are having an inappropriate relationship. Why is that any concern of yours? Why do you care? I thought that you told Angela it wasn't your fight for you to tell Porsha she was wrong about saying she'll fuck Charles. But I had to think about it. You're such a loyal lapdog. You would go above and beyond to make sure your best friend has a storyline, has some things to talk about because you know what she can talk about. All of this for Porsha, huh? Sure. Ralph talks about his timeline with Drew, how they got together. They got engaged at 3 months, married at 5 months, and then prayed at 9 months. Sounds to me like you were the one who love bombed her so well because you wanted to present to her you'll be this best man she's ever had because you knew that Drew came in the relationship with a child of her own and that his father was in jail. So you wanted to be a different person. You wanted to show this man you could be a better father to him. But as it turns out, are you any different? I'm not sure. And you definitely changed throughout the course of the marriage. And now you want to say Drew is someone you don't recognize, someone that you really get a chance to know. You were the one who wanted to marry her so quickly. You were the one who got her pregnant. I think it's because you knew where Drew was going in her career and you wanted to be a part of that. Because what we're not going to do is discredit Drew's acting capability throughout the years of her being on TV, being on movies. We're not going to do that. She was already an up-and-coming actress before you. She was already a name before you. So for you to say you don't know who she was, I never got a chance to get to know her, that's because she's now changed into somebody that you can't control anymore. Now she is someone who's actually seeing things without rose-colored glasses on. She can catch when you're gaslighting her, can catch when you're trying to make a moment out of her, and she's not going to lie you anymore. And you can also tell that Ralph is fishing for information because he wants to know if Drew is still working for Porsha with Go Naked Hair. Because if anybody listened to Girl Is That Legal, which is Simone from the past seasons of Ready to Love, she read the divorce documents that Drew wanted them to be sealed. Come to find out, Drew was moving money from her old LLC to a new LLC that she did not want Ralph to have access on. And I honestly don't care because it's about her. It's her money. It's her name. You got your money, sir. You don't need her money anymore, especially this housewives money and any future project that she has coming up because she does have a lot of future projects coming up and you do not need to take any piece of that. And lo and behold, guess who comes in the scene? Porsha. Now they're already giving out their stories about how I had no idea she was coming. And Shamea, your reasoning is you wanted to have a witness to make sure that if things wasn't going to go left or was going to go left, that this conversation was strictly about business. Porsha was your number one witness. You could have asked Cynthia, you could have asked Kelly to be a good material witness instead of Porsha. But no, you chose your best friend because you wanted to give her a scene. You wanted to help her out with a storyline. Okay, that's it, that's all. And now, this was an obvious scene that they spent majority of the time talking about Drew. Business was only about 2 seconds. And how Porsha is so eager to tell Ralph about this text that Dennis sent to her about Drew wanting to fuck him. And she's reading off the message. I believe it's the same message that she read off last week. And of course, knowing that Bravo would normally post messages on the screen, they didn't do that. They just had words floating off on the screen, but it wasn't a cohesive message. And it's like Porsha did it again. She misinterpreted that message incorrectly to paint the picture that Dennis wasn't trying to fuck with her because he's all about wanting his money. And you got to see how fast she took her phone from Ralph because she didn't want him to see, because she's lying right now. Dennis never sent you any text like that. It sounds to me like he gave you an explanation because you kept bugging him about it. Like, you're gaslighting the conversation, believing that it happened when it never happened. And see, Porsha is such a contradictory right now because whenever she's talking about she didn't want Drew and Dennis to use this as an opportunity to talk about her and that can affect their co-parenting relationship, what is she doing now? Using this opportunity to talk bad about Drew that can affect her case against Ralph right now, because you know they're going through a divorce right now. You know they're going to go through custody right now. You're doing exactly what you thought that Drew was doing to you, and you're doing it to her. Projection at its finest. Then she wants to say, you know what, there have been plenty of things said about them in the streets, and I know there have been plenty of things that's been said about you. Are they true? No. Okay, well, what they have going on could not be true either. But you're pushing it so hard for it to be true. If it's the streets, it's the streets. But why are you making it sound like it's actual factual and when it's not? And here go Lassie, not relaying information correctly because she told Ralph that Drew was talking about her child. And I'm like, what? What you talking about? Yeah, because she was saying how I'm going to make so much money, I could send Pilar to college. Ralph said it was disrespectful. Here goes Shamea. Yeah. She said, I mean, she was joking about it, but I felt like that was a bit rude. That's not what she said, though, Shamea. Another time where you're giving too much sauce on information that's not even there. Drew was giving kudos to Dennis that everything that's going to go well with this album is going to make both of us a lot of money, that we're going to be able to take care of our children. Point blank, period. It wasn't to downplay Porsha's parenting. It wasn't to say she wasn't going to have any money sent to Pilar. None of that was said. How did you take it? Why did you take it so offensive when it wasn't even about you? And it wasn't even about Pilar. Like, girl, I cannot. Oh, Shamea, this is not a good look for you, and I don't think you would find it funny if the roles were reversed and you were the topic of conversation and people are talking about you in this way. And then we get to Porsha asking Ralph who filed first. He said he filed first. No, you're lying. Drew filed first because there was a whole race about who was going to make it to the courthouse first, and Drew made it. She beat you by, I think, an hour and a half. And his sole reason of divorcing her is because of her alleged affair with Ty Young. Are you for real right now? From the time Drew stepped on the scene, you have been disrespectful. You have gaslit her. You have made her out to be the villain when you done the worst. Hello, the first time she came on the scene, you were gone. You left for Tampa. Hello, then cousin Courtney come out of nowhere. Well, I think that y'all had an inappropriate relationship. You've had an inappropriate conversation with your assistant that she called you out on it. And you really think all it took was for her to have an affair with Ty to say, that's it, I'm done? Miss me. And then, how do you know it's true? He said she told me out of her own mouth. Okay, so it was a flashback where Drew was confiding in her friends by saying, yeah, I have confided in one of my good friends. She has listened to me. She laughs at my jokes. She has made me happy. To me, that's not really enough information for me to believe that there was an affair. But if she was confiding in her friend about how you treated her and that friend was listening, that's still not enough information. And if y'all want to put up a flashback of how she gave her a hug, it's still not enough information. And I'm not going to give Drew the scarlet letter to believe that she's the person who's done wrong in the marriage when you have done wrong in the marriage. So even if she did do it, kudos to her. I'm glad, okay? She got her lick back from you. Whatever. Okay, so aside from where she's at with her friendship with Drew, Shamea wants validation from Porsha about how she always defends her because everybody's always coming at me for defending you. And I cannot understand why Angela can easily forgive you if you saying some fucked up shit, but I can't get forgiven because I just laughed at it. There it is right there, though. You knowing that Porsha said something she shouldn't have said and you did not hold her accountable. You laughed at it. And that's where Angela said, as a married woman, I put you at a higher regard to think you would have stepped in and said that wasn't right, and you didn't. Now, Porsha didn't even come up with an explanation to defend why Shamea laughed. As a best friend, no. She told her, no, Angela's reasoning of why she looked at you differently was because she expected for you to be held accountable over the things that you will allow and over the things you will laugh at. She said, okay, well, I don't get that. I don't get it. Well, you do get it, though, Shamea, because the way you can come off with an excuse for Porsha, she can't even come up with an excuse for you. And you are so loyal to her that you know she does fucked up things and she doesn't even return the favor on you. And now Porsha's even saying that somebody's always coming to me and saying, oh, everybody's mad at me because of what you said, and why am I always the one in trouble? That's not always going to be on Porsha's fault, because you have your own mind. You do not have to step in and defend her in a situation that she created for herself. I get it, you're a best friend, but sometimes being a best friend, have to tell your friend when they're being wrong. And you do that every time. You never tell Porsha when she's wrong. You're always giving off an excuse. You're always justifying her reasonings, and you follow behind her feelings and start throwing shots at everybody else when they have done nothing to you. So now Shamea is feeling like all this animosity is coming towards me from the ladies is not fair. But you put yourself in it. You make it hard for you to have good relationship with these women because you're always putting yourself in the line of fire to defend Porsha. You're ready to pour water on her. You're ready for the fire hydrant, but she's never ready to do that for you when you get into some shit that she's not even able to defend you on. So that's another time, Shamea, where Porsha has literally have not shown you the reciprocity in the friendship like you've had for all these years, and you can't blame nobody but yourself for allowing it for all these years. Moving on. We have Angela. She is showcasing one of her investment properties that she renovated, and we know that she owns 5 of them, but the price that she listed have not been welcoming in the market because they're a bit too high. One home is listed at $2.9 million, another one's listed at $1.5, and another one is at $800K. So maybe she's trying to earn back the money she put in renovating it, but you're not going to always be met with that exact price though, Angela. It's not saying that the homes are nice, but maybe since the market is like up and down right now, folks are not going to pay that much for those homes. You're going to either get a under offer, or so maybe she bit off more than she can chew when it came down to putting these homes back on the market. But I appreciate the honesty because she says she's about $2 million in debt, so she needs these homes sold fast. To apologize to Angela for egging on the drama between her and Britt when she yelled, "What about that baby?" And she realized it was wrong. She shouldn't have did it. But maybe 2 things. 1, she's afraid of Angela. And 2, this could be a part of her making sure she's good with the rest of the ladies when her friendship with Britt starts to hit the fan. So when she showed Kelly around, I liked the house. I thought the house was nice. I love the floors. But Kelly was throwing a whole bunch of shade about how the ceilings are low, the pool isn't done. It's like, well, this is still a work in progress, okay? They got as much as they could getting the structure of the pool, but it's not finished, and it's going to be put back on the market in the next 10 days. And Angela, that closet is an issue. That's a shoebox, right? How the hell did this house get built with not a master closet? What is that? But anyway, you know what? When it comes to people buying homes, some people like fixer-uppers, okay? But then some people want homes as is, and they do their own renovations later. But who knows, right? Then when they sat down, it was awkward between them, but then they did speak about their children. And then Kelly asked how long had her and Charles been married. She said 8 years, but together 10. That's my best friend. That's when Angela wanted to get some clarification from Kelly, because the way you came at me at the Bailey Q about you know some things about my husband, I need you to tell me, what do you know, what you think you know, because you had a whole bunch of energy of trying to air out some things you think you know. Now, Kelly gave off a if I offended you, I apologize. No, because when you give an if apology, that means you don't mean it. But when it came down to saying what she said, she shouldn't have said it. It wasn't right, but she just didn't know how to ask Angela about it. But you knew how to ask Porsha. Why did she steal that lady's husband? So why couldn't you come up with that same energy of asking Angela, okay, there's been some rumors about Charles having a baby. Is that true? Like, what are you so afraid of? Make it make sense. So I've heard this story already, okay? Angela cleared up that Charles does not have a side baby because she mentioned that her husband was hosting an event with Wendy Williams. They were in a conversation, I think the news about Wendy's husband having a baby on her, and Angela just walked up to her and said, "It's just a baby." So and Wendy took offense, went to her show, made it seem as if Angela revealed that Charles had a baby on her and that she still is married to him, and that wasn't the case. This was a old situation from a long time ago that was resurfaced as soon as Angela came on the show, as soon as there were conversations about Angela and her children and their separation, and that's when the clip came up, but it wasn't brand new information. And Angela realized she shouldn't have said it to her. It wasn't her place. And when it came down to her saying, "I understand where you're going through," it's because she had that experience with her daughter's father having a baby on her. Then when it came down to figuring things out with her husband, there have been instances of infidelity. And it happened around the time of the Madison Square Garden situation, how he felt humiliated, his ego was bruised. Angela didn't know how to really be there for him, so they took a break. Allow for him to figure out where he wants to go and feel that validation, see if he still got it, and come back when he wants to come back. I appreciate Angela for being super transparent about her relationship and have been honest by saying, yeah, I've been through some things. I've been through ups and downs, but when you both decide to come together and make it work, that's how you have a great marriage. Marriage is not what we believed it was. It's not something we believed in fairy tales and children's stories. And I appreciate that. And I love that Angela put everything else out on the table so that way nobody can come at her about some information that she has not revealed on her own. So then we talk about Shamea. Have they spoken to Shamea since the Bailey Q? Kelly said no. Angela said, I thought that me and her was developing a friendship because we've had private conversations about Porsha. And we go back to the studio scene where Angela and Drew were there to support Shamea. And they all went to dinner after that where she confided in them about her problems with Porsha and that there were a lot of things she has not let go in regards to their friendship. We go off with how Porsha did not want Shamea to be part of the group and how it hurt her that Porsha was not a part of her wedding, which are all those things we were already aware of. And that she was afraid to tell her. Now, Kelly, she wants to say that as a best friend, I would not be confiding in anybody else about my best friend if I'm not able to tell her, because even with me and Britt, I tell her when she's wrong and I tell her when she's right. I haven't seen it, but maybe we're going to see when your friendship starts breaking down. And Angela also added that she does not want to be Porsha's sidekick. So you're in your confessional saying that you don't believe that Shamea would have confided in Angela about her problems with Porsha and that Angela needs to mind her business, but yet you're in this scene giving your 2 cents in and engaging in the conversation. So y'all both being messy right now. So you're not absolved from this because I think that you've had your own conversations with Shamea about Porsha. You just haven't said anything. So now you're thinking that you can look at Angela sideways? Okay, moving on. So now we get Britt. Another pointless scene with her and her husband always in the kitchen, and they're talking about her mom moving in, how it might be a bit of a challenge because they both like to walk around in their birthday suits. Then why would you want your mom to move in? If you guys already have y'all routine, y'all are comfortable, how y'all run your house, why you want your mama moving in with you? Okay, figure out a way to make her comfortable, because this is going to be a change in pace for her too. But anyway, Britt again is presenting a different story about how she's acting to say that she's not seeing eye to eye with anybody and that she thought that her and Angela were moving forward. But you're the one who keeps on keeping you from moving forward with everybody because you keep on starting shit with everybody. Here you go presenting information like you're the one being constantly ganged up on. When we saw last week, you were itching to have a back and forth with Angela and you got red, okay? Then she wants to say that Angela is always meddling in other people's business, but when you mention her, she runs. When did that happen? Because I felt like you were the one who was itching to put your hands on her when she said you got mouths on your mouth. You were the one who got aggressive when she checked you about how you throw the rock and hide your hand. So when did she run, Brisket? I think you're the one who runs. Like the projection about how you would do in these type of situations and you're putting off of somebody else is just crazy to me. You run from everything because you never take accountability of the things you start. Because here it is right here. You're avoiding accountability that you started with Angela and she finished. Like you're always playing the victim. You're always saying that someone's always coming at you wrong. You don't understand why. Girl, it's you. Moving on. Mike tells Brisket that he reached out to her sister Cher so they can have a conversation. And then Brisket decides to give him a warning about how her sister operates. She likes to play the victim. She likes to take advantage of people. Are you describing yourself? I swear, every time that Britt is describing somebody and how they move, she's describing herself and she just doesn't get it. Her self-awareness is super, super low. She just cannot detect it. And then she's talking about that she believes that her sister lost her because she got married to Mike. How can she lose you because you got married? Did you not pay attention when you first had the conversation with her that she does not care that you got married to Mike? Mike is not the problem. I want us to have a relationship, but you want to use Mike as he's the reason why you can't have a relationship with your sister. You put Mike at the forefront of every single conversation to described that it's been hard for you to move forward with your sisters because of Mike. When I feel like it's not Mike, it's you. And then to say my sister can keep me warm and nice, so I need them to fix their issue so we can move forward. You're the issue because you're always putting Mike above everything. And when your sister telling you, I don't care, I want a relationship with you, you flip it and now look at how you play a part in this and say, oh, it's always about Mike. It's been about Mike. Oh my God, girl. Nobody cares that you're married to Mike. Nobody wants Mike. Moving on. All right, so moving on. We got Angela. She decides to invite Porsha to one of her other investment properties because she does not trust a woman who will say she'll fuck my husband in my home. And I appreciate that. Don't let her find out what you got going on. Keep her at an arm's length. So she meets her oldest daughter, Amari, the one that secretly got married. And we did find out she did get married to a girl, which I figured. And understanding why she didn't want to tell Angela, because I guess Angela could appear as an overprotective helicopter parent. And this was her way of acting out of rebellion, asserting herself to be an adult. No, I think it's because you decided to marry a girl. But I don't think that that's an issue from Angela. Maybe that could have been an issue from your aunt and your grandma that you guys got into about you trying to use the car. That could be the problem, that you got married to a girl that they have an issue with. And then they decide to play a little tennis. And Porsha has her Pamper by Porsha event and she's inviting all the girls. Now, you see how Drew is not even in this scene, but Drew was able to be the topic of conversation because she makes everything about Drew. And Angela wants an opportunity to fix it because she doesn't understand how it got to this point. And now she's telling her, well, the opportunity fell into my lap about Dennis texting me saying that Drew was trying to sleep with him. And Angela was not feeling the conversation. She didn't want to hear it. And it was just more and more about her saying that she wanted to sleep with Dennis in order to not pay for her services for her album being produced. Angela feels vindicated as to why she should not have trusted this woman in her own home, because that is petty as hell. And that she even shared that information to Ralph. And it's like, why would you do that? And in her confessional, she said, Porsha needs to practice what she preaches, because all of this time you were feeling afraid of the conversations of what Drew would have with Dennis when you're doing it right now. We've only seen Drew and Dennis talk business. The only scene we saw was them in the studio. That's it. That's all. So she wants to get Drew's side of the story before she believes Porsha, because booty for beats, girl, that's a bit too much. And then, you know, she mentioned how Drew talked about her child. So now we get a flashback to what Drew actually said, and it was giving kudos to Dennis on how he has everything lined up, that they're going to make a whole lot of money. And then Pilar going to college came up. Shamea wanted to defend it. And then Drew said, okay, well, it can go to snacks. So because Shamea felt like this was something that Porsha needed to know, she spun it. That way it sounded so natively that that's not how it was. So we're continuing on with Shamea, that Shamea and Angela had a conversation, that she told Kelly about it, about how she felt there's some things that you guys have not resolved, about how she felt you didn't want her to be part of the group. And Porsha defended herself with saying that I sent her my Dreamcast and she was on it. And then how Shamea doesn't want to feel like it's a lopsided friendship because she is afraid of telling you that there are some issues that she has not told you about. So once Angela told her about what Shamea said and she starts to cry, Angela was comforting her, and she just can't believe that her best friend would talk about her issues with somebody else and not her. And why would she not tell me so we can come together and fix it and not allow for anybody to come in between us and our friendship? I don't know, Porsha. I feel like you've already have allowed for other people and other opinions to come in between your friendship with Shamea. So when she walks off and gets to her car and cries and says, I'm exhausted, do I believe that she was crying about how Shamea has felt, or do I believe that she was crying about something else and she just wanted to get out of that scene? Who knows, right? So Drew, she's at home making breakfast for her son, and since court, her and Ralph has ceased communication. And then when it comes to the kids and letting them know about the divorce, they can't do it because it's in the court order. So when it does come out, they want to have therapy sessions set up for the kids to be aware about what's going on, the changes they're going to experience. But I believe that both of y'all have dropped the ball on hiding this from the kids as if the kids aren't aware of it. The kids can't see the changes already. You and Ralph are not living on the same level. He's downstairs, you're upstairs. You leave 3 times out of the month. Your daughter acts silly when she wants to get her hair done because you're leaving. Like, they're already experiencing the changes and they're already acting out because of the changes. So y'all don't need to hide this from them because your kids are already at that age where they can't understand about what's going on, okay? But moving on from that, she has a video session with Dr. Ken. Dr. Ken was her original marriage counselor that she met back in 2021, but now he is just her life coach. She's telling him, I've been going through a lot. I thought I can handle it, but now I can't because of her and Ralph. And since her and Ralph stopped talking, it's been affecting her social circles because Angela invited her and Kelly over to her house where she can let Drew know about the conversation she had with Porsha, that Porsha and Shamea met up with Ralph to talk about a podcast, and Porsha provided information that Dennis received a text message from you saying that you would sleep with him in exchange for his services to produce your album. Now, of course, just hearing it out loud, Drew is like, girl, bye, girl, bye. Now, of course, Kelly's eating that up because she's super loud about it. So Drew is like, hearing this lie from Dennis, it's like, I thought we were coming together to support my music. I thought he was understanding my passion for music and how music has always been my safe space. And now that's compromised. And she doesn't know how much more she can take. And I have to agree, this isn't fair with the way that y'all treating Drew. Especially you, Shamea. When Drew has done nothing to you. You're doing way too much to help Porsha have a storyline just so she could be seen in conversations, have a reason, and it's unnecessary. They did it on the after show when they were all still carrying the narrative that Drew would do something strange for a piece of change and sleep with Dennis in order for her album to get produced. Like, what, Porsha? How did Flatline get created? Like, Shamea, you're just now starting. You've had a lot of startups, but you now actually made music. Drew has made music before, and now she's starting all over again. So don't do that. Ken said that maybe she should work on what she should work on. She can't control what everybody else is saying. She knows she doesn't have anything going on with Dennis right now. And she can be mad at Dennis, but I don't think she is because I do believe that all of this came from Porsha. And if Dennis has already defended himself by saying, I'm not doing nothing with her, like I said in the beginning, then all of this is pushed on by Porsha. We are now at the Pampered by Porsha event. It does look like a very nice event. I love how everything's all decorated. She claims she wanted her friends to be a part of it, but I do believe that she wanted them to do some free promo for her brand. She is very happy about this brand. She wants to be taken seriously in the business world because she said in the public eye she only wanted to be seen as the wife. But now I can put that hat down and put on the other hat that pays the bills. My affordable bed sheets. Well, you should have thought about that before you decided to quit all your jobs when Simon proposed to you after how many months of dating and that you really didn't even know him like that. Like, girl, you're now having to crawl back to how you started in order for you to still keep up the finances that you should not have ended in the first place because you thought that this man was going to give you a life of luxury and a soft life without you having to work. So now you have to work, Porsha. So sorry. All of the ladies are arriving in their sexy lingerie. Kelly and Britt are on their way. Britt gives her an update about the conversation Mike had with her sister. And again, she keeps on throwing out this narrative that Cher is a firecracker. Cher is manipulative. So are you. And in this scene, Cher said, I felt like I was left out. Mike said, I can see how you can feel like that, but that wasn't the case. Cher said, I feel like she has to have permission from you in order to see me, in order to hang out with me, have a relationship with me. He said, no, I'm not a controlling guy. That's not my character. You can do whatever you want with your sister. I want y'all to have a great relationship. Then I have a whole different perspective about Mike than I did in the beginning. I thought that Mike didn't know how to handle himself without Britt being there. So maybe from the first conversation that Britt had with her sister, Britt could have told Mike, if I'm not out of this restaurant in the next 30 minutes or an hour, just call me. If I cannot answer the phone, just message me like crazy. So it can look as if you need me, you can't do it without me. So that can get me out of this conversation. Wow. Britt, you don't want to have a relationship with your sisters. I believe that you want to stick it to your sisters about how you got married, you're living a good life, and they're not living a good life. I don't know how you're assuming that your sisters are not happy with where they are in their life because they might not have a man in their life right now, and that's all you seem to care about is having a man, having a big flashy ring, living a grand life. Like that is all a woman should set out to have in this world, is a great man. Girl, can you find priorities in other areas of what makes a woman happy besides a man, please? It is like, ugh, don't like it. So when they walk into the event, Angela looks amazing. Oh my God, I love that color. I loved her hair. I loved everything. Drew looks amazing. And Drew was also shocked that she got an invite because her and Porsha have been at Oz for a while. And hey, I got the invite. I'm here. I'm not expecting nothing else. But Porsha wants to get in her confessional and say, I'm done being mad. I don't want to keep on going at it with her. I don't want to be around somebody who's dead set on believing their narrative, want everyone to believe their narrative, believe that lie. I don't have time for it anymore. But that's what you've been doing this entire time. You're so dead set on us believing that Dennis and Drew have had an inappropriate relationship, and you keep on feeding it to us every chance you get. Because we don't believe it, and you keep on trying to force it down our throat as if we don't see your plot and how you're trying to move everything around. Good night. Kelly and Britt do look cute. They fit the theme. Britt definitely looked cute. I loved her hair. I love the red number. But then she had like a bit of a flirtatious energy with the bartender when he asked her, do you want to double fist it? It was about mixing the drink. But it looked as if she was down for whatever it is he was down for. Britt, is this appropriate for a married woman? I mean, you always calling out what other married women should do. Maybe that should be another conversation that you might run away from. How you had an inappropriate situation with a bartender, right? You wouldn't like that, huh? Anyway. So they all take individual photos and then group photos. And then Drew thought, is this promo for our profile? Can we use this as content? Are we ambassadors for Pampered by Porsha? Because I didn't get a contract. Now, Drew did admit that her contract for Go Naked Hair was terminated, but maybe that's the reason why she got invited to this event, because she knows she made good money by using Drew as her hair ambassador, and I had to agree. Porsha knew how it would make her look by having all the girls there. It would not be a good look if she iced Drew out. So they all took a break, and then Kelly tells Shamea about the conversation she had with Angela while she was at her house and how she repeated what Drew said about Shamea being Porsha's lapdog and how she needs to put on her big girl panties and defend herself. Now, of course, Shamea laughs it off by saying, okay, still playing on that narrative. Yeah, a narrative that you keep on acting on. This narrative didn't come out of nowhere, though, Shamea. It's based off of your actions. Now, Kelly couldn't understand where the lapdog came from, but she can understand how it was brought up because she repeated the conversation that Angela had with Porsha about some things that were shared and that you don't want to be seen as Porsha's sidekick, and that she was in tears when she heard it. Now, Kelly, you're being messy right now by repeating information that you thought Angela should not have repeated. So, Shamea's feeling some type of way about it because Porsha did not mention this to her. And she views Porsha as her sister. And I thought our friendship was way stronger than you allowing any kind of conversations about me and not tell me. Well, you did the same thing, though, Shamea. You confided in Drew and Angela about your frustrations with Porsha and didn't tell her about it. So both of y'all have, throughout the years of a friendship, have confided in others about how y'all have felt, but never told one another. Because you guys are afraid of talking to one another about how things have made you feel. So this is the last portion of the event. They having a sister circle. Lauren brought a yoga specialist so they can have a calming moment to breathe and reflect on some things. Everybody laid down except for Shamea. She is visibly upset of what she was just informed, and she needs attention from Porsha because she wants Porsha to address what was said. Kelly notices Shamea was not laying down. She walks over there, even though I believe that Kelly only wanted to be seen, having her ass out. And it's like, why are you not meditating? She said, I don't feel like peace right now. So Porsha hears them, tells them to shush, and then Kelly tells her everything that you told Angela, she told Porsha. Kelly, you and Angela are definitely being messy right now that I'm not mad about. You guys are bringing the story to the forefront so we can have a full-blown conversation as we should. So you can't say Angela should mind her business when you're doing the exact same thing. So the next part was for them to present any grievances or any issues so they can have a civil conversation on how to move forward. Angela says she appreciates Porsha's apology and that they might not agree all the time, but they want to have the proper chance of moving forward. Kelly, who was supposed to only address about some things she has felt, and the only thing she wanted to bring up was Porsha and Shamea's friendship, on how they need to have a conversation about how they felt one another. So Kelly really led the brigade of how this argument came out for Porsha and Shamea. And Kelly pretty much revealed everything that was said. She can't shine because Porsha doesn't allow her to shine, how Porsha didn't want her to be part of this group, and that Shamea's always played second fiddle. And I'm seeing it right now, Shamea, because you're now a full-time peach holder. You don't need to play background to her anymore. Porsha said, I receive what you're saying, but I hate the way this all came out. Now, Shamea was like, I've never said that. Who said that? Because I haven't spoken. So that's not what I said. So Porsha talks about the conversation she had with Angela, that Shamea practically told Angela that Porsha is a bad friend and that she's a good friend. And Shamea comes to the defense by saying anything that I have said about her behind her back have been communicated to her. But as far as y'all having a conversation where she was in tears, that wasn't communicated back to me. And continuing on with how Shamea relays information with adding sauce on it. And we've seen that clear as day, that whenever Shamea is in a scene where she's hearing anything negative about Porsha, she is adding more sauce on it to present a different picture. And with her not coming to her wedding, that I don't believe Shamea has ever really forgave Porsha for that. And we know that she asked Porsha for the receipts as to did she want her to be a part of the show or not. And she said, I can't say that I have not spoken about you in a negative way, and I can't say that our relationship have not had challenges. But if anything that's been said about Porsha in front of me, I shut it down. Yes, you do. But it has not been reciprocated. No, it has not been reciprocated. Even so, seeing them going back and forth, and Shamea's telling her how you never stick up for her, you never defend her, and how her energy is shitty. And Porsha is over talking Shamea, not letting her get a word in. And then turning to Angela and say, why y'all attacking our friendship? And it's like, no. There have already been cracks in this friendship that's been very easy for us to decipher and see. Y'all have had cracks in y'all friendship years ago. So Angela tells Shamea, I think you're afraid. I feel like there have been some things that's been bothering you for a while, and you have not fully told her how you felt. So Angela says she didn't know about Porsha not coming to her wedding. And Shamea said, girl, the whole world knew. This is not new information. This is old. And Porsha gave her explanation as to why she didn't come. But Porsha adds more information other than the reason she gave before. That they had a beef 2 months prior to her not coming to her wedding in Kenya. And that confuses Shamea because when did we have a falling out? When were we not in a good place of talking? And everybody was all over Twitter finding that clip of hearing Porsha's explanation as to why she could not come to her wedding in Kenya, because she did not want to fly coach and she had health issues. But then Shamea offered to get her a first class ticket so she could be comfortable, but yet she's like, I just can't do it. I just can't do it. It's like, what? Like, at this point, Shamea, wake up and smell the coffee, okay? I believe that Porsha has been envious of you throughout your friendship. Only because it's like throughout that time of her getting all the attention, of her wedding being everybody else's conversation, Porsha felt like she was second fiddle. And that's not what it was supposed to be. She was the main housewife on the show. You were just a friend. How can you take over her shine? That wasn't what it's supposed to be. And that's your best friend since you've had since you was a kid. After everything y'all been through, the one time it was about you and she couldn't show up for you. That says a lot. And Angela was like, I just want Shamea to stick up for herself and speak up and let it all out, because she's been wanting to tell her about this for a while. And we see Shamea gets emotional about how she never wanted to talk down about her friendships and the way that she's expressing how this is hurting her and it's not being reciprocated. Because it's not. Seeing how Porsha just gave off another bullshit as excuse by not showing up for your wedding, she still is not recognizing that it hurts you. And Porsha does not want to be held accountable that she has not been a good friend to Shamea after all these years, more so than Shamea has. And now she's still blaming everybody. Why y'all attacking our friendship? Angela said, it's already laid down on the table. Y'all been having issues that y'all all been passive aggressive about. Y'all all have been not addressing the real problem. And Shamea, you've had plenty of opportunities to address Porsha of the things that have hurt your feelings. You could have had that moment where y'all went and played putt-putt about how she talked over your song and didn't show support, but yet you suppressed your feelings, became the people pleaser, and been a support system for her, but she wasn't a support system for you. And then Cynthia, girl, you were quiet the entire time, just sitting there eating, and now want to say, I hate when a group affects a real friendship. No. You can't blame us on the group. You got to blame Shamea and Porsha. They both have allowed for not explaining how things have hurt them throughout their friendship. They both have done it. They've been avoiding having real conversations. Porsha more so than Shamea. She's been avoiding how she don't want to take no type of accountability, that she has not shown up for Shamea at all. And of course, Shamea feels hurt, and I bet that she feels extremely hurt in this moment, that I don't want no resolve right now. I'm good. I've always given grace, and I would like for it to be extended back to me. Then Porsha wants to say, I thank you for your grace. It was very sarcastic, very passive-aggressive, very dismissive, but you didn't like it, but yet you were on her side when she gave that same exact tone to other people who didn't deserve it. And then Porsha just sits there and says, I'm a piece of shit. It's fine. I'm a piece of shit. It's cool. It's cool. Because she would rather tell herself that she's dumb and she's an ain't shit ass friend versus anybody else telling her that she's not a good friend. And you're not a good friend, Porsha. You are a horrible friend. You're selfish. You're self-absorbed. You don't care about nobody but yourself. And that was pretty much the end of the episode. We know that in the upcoming weekend, they're going to have their own conversation to discuss some things that have affected their friendship. And Porsha's going to cry and run away, because she doesn't want to be held accountable, that she has too played a part in where they are in their friendship. And y'all, that's it. I ain't got no more. Please stay tuned for my next video, and I'll see you guys later. Bye.